Alright, so we're ready to start programming. We've got a standalone project. We've made sure that the software is updated and that our controller and microcontroller both have the updated firmware on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start throwing stuff in here. I've got my configuration already worked out, which is kind of cool. So what I want to do is I'm going to bring in a tank 2 motor. The reason I'm going to do that is I'm going to want my bot to sort of run like a tank. In other words, the right toggle button will control the right side of the bot, the left toggle button will control the left side of the bot, which makes it pretty easy to drive for most people. So I'm only going to use one joystick. The left channel, what that's referring to is referring to, if you look at your remote, it's got the toggle button, it's got 3 and 4 next to 1, it's got 1 and 2 next to the other. 3 is a north and south one, 2 is a north and south one, so we're not going to change those at all. The left motor, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the masking tape that I put on there to check the number, right, and see where it's connected. The other thing I'm going to do is when I labeled them in my configuration, it actually just pops it up right there as a note, which is really wonderful. And I know that 127 is a positive number, so I don't have to invert my direction. My right motor, oh, look, there it is right again. Notice it's a negative number going forward now, so I do have to invert that, which is kind of a bummer. Not really. So we select OK, and we're actually working. Now, if I developed it like this, what's going to happen is I'm going to turn my bot on, and it's not going to do anything. The reason is that it takes 1,000th of a second for it to actually read this command, and so it's just going to go boom, it's going to end. The second I start, end. Alright, so I need to work with my program flow a little bit, and I've got to put a loop into it. So I'm going to put a while loop in there. I'm going to put while 1 because it's going to try to find a variable out there, and it's going to assume the variable is 0. So if I say, hey, while the magical variable is 1, do this. So since it's 1, and there's no variable associated to it, it's just going to always do that. And I'm going to bring this now into that loop. And so what's going to happen is it's going to say, hey, is that 1? And it's going to say, just do this over and over and over and over again. Just continue loops. And that's how that works. The next thing, of course, I want to do is be able to associate maybe my lift motor to one of the buttons on the top of my remote. So I'm actually going to take a joystick digital motor to that. So let me plug that in there. And this looks a little bit more complicated, but it's really not that bad. Again, I'm using the one remote. Channel 5 is one of the ones up on the top, and so I'm going to allow that to work. You have a top and a bottom button there. I'm actually going to make the top button too, just because when I'm trying to lift something, it just makes it easier in my mind. Let's see here. Let me bring my motor in. Alright, so 127 is up. So, alright, so if I want to go up here, it's going to go 127 on that motor, which is good, because that's what I want it to do. And I'm going to make this one 1, so when I want it to go down, I can push the button below it, which is really kind of cool. Alright, now all I have to do is select build and download, let the program run, and what should happen is I'll be able to control my bot in the tank tread motion and be able to lift anything up. Other things I could do, just as a note, is I could go and bring in arcade mode, and it's going to work differently. In other words, I use just one of my toggle buttons to move everything around. Try it out, see if you like it. I think it's a little faster, but it's entirely your charge because it's not as, sometimes people aren't as comfortable with it. So, your call.